Okay, hope you guys did good on your last lesson, 10.7, writing equations to circles. It's circles in the coordinate plane, but in reality what we were doing is writing equations to circles and finding their center and finding the radius. So what I'm going to teach you today is the second part of that lesson. But before we get into that, I want to review with you what the equation of a circle looks like. So standard form. Of an equation of a circle. Okay, so the first part is x minus h squared, big plus sign, that plus sign is always there, and then y minus k squared equals r squared. Now, if you remember this, the reason we say h and k are the center. The center is h, k. Now, I want you to notice something. Up in here, it's always minus, but down here, it's plus. That's because when it's in the parentheses, it's a liar. And if you'll remember, we talk about parentheses, you're in jail, you're a liar, so the number is not telling the truth up here. So when we bring it out, it tells the truth, because when you get out of jail, you tell the truth. And you will end up having h and k down here, different signs than up here. So if the problem had a plus sign up here, like in it already, then down here it would have a minus. That's kind of how that works. And then the radius equals r. Now up here, r squared is what is this already. So to get this, we have to actually set that equal to 0 and square root it. If you remember, that's what we did in the last lesson. So remember that, okay? So I'm going to review that with you real quick. In showing you that, that's what I wanted to show you, that equation is the standard form of an equation of a circle. So when it looks like this, it's ready to get this and this. If I already have the center and I have the radius, I can put it into there really quick. That was what our lesson was last time. Well, today's lesson is actually taking the equation the way it looks right here. Okay, now that obviously doesn't look like what my equation looked like a second ago. And we're going to actually put that, we're going to take this and we're going to put it in this form. That's what the lesson is today. That's why this is part 2. Okay, so we're going to rewrite that. X squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 4y minus 16 equals 0. That's what the problem started like. That's what it looks like. I'm going to do several of these, even though I only have 2 examples. I'm going to do a couple of them with you, just so that I can make sure that you're really ready for a lesson tomorrow. Okay? All right, well, here we go. When it looks like this, whatever they give you, if it doesn't have the parentheses in it, if it doesn't look like this, then you know it's not in the right form. So we can't go get the center and we can't get the radius until it's in that form. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, the very first thing we do is we take a look at it and we rewrite it. X squared minus 8x. I'm going to put the x stuff together. I'm going to leave a space right here. I'm going to put a big plus sign. That big plus sign is reviewing that big plus sign. Okay? So I want you to notice the x stuff went here. Well, the y stuff's going to go there. So if you'll take a look at it, the x stuff is still right here. Now down below is where we're going to get our parentheses. And the y stuff will go here. So watch. Y squared plus 4y. Now I'm going to leave a space. Equals, and watch what I do. 16. Somebody tell me, how did I get 16 to go from negative 16, and now it's on the other side of the equal sign, to go positive 16? Well, I'll show you. If we did this, we added 16, so we added 16, and 16 plus 0 is 16. That's how we got it. Okay, so now this is set up. It's ready to go. Well, I'm going to show you how to get the parentheses. If you'll remember back in a lesson in chapter 4 is where we learned about quadratics. Well, you guys, this is a quadratic. This is also a quadratic. It's a different type of quadratic because it's y, but when it's x, we for sure know it's quadratics. And so what I'm going to teach you and remind you of how to do is to complete the square. We're going to remember how to complete the square. You guys, completing the square deals with the b term. This is the a term, a x squared, minus or plus, it doesn't matter, the b x term. Whatever has the x by it is the b value. Again, here is the a term, because that's the x squared. This is the b term, because that is the single variable, y. It's either y or x, and that's the b value. To complete the square, watch what you do. You take half of it. Half of it is 4, but we'll just write it out. Plus 8 over 2 squared. You take whatever it is, and we don't care about the sign because we are squaring it. When you square something, it doesn't matter what sign it is, you're going to get a positive. So that's why it's always going to be a plus right there, okay? So then it's half of b squared. So do it again here. Plus half of b is divided by 2 squared. And what you guys got to remember is if we do something on this side, we have to do it on the other side because it's an equation. So watch. Plus 8 over 2 squared plus 4 over 2 squared. Now on my next few examples, we're going to go much faster than that, but that's how you would write it out. Okay, so here we go. I've got x squared minus 8x. All we're doing is simplifying. So nothing happened here, but watch what this is. 4 squared. So I'm just going to keep writing it because I want to show you every step. Big plus sign. I always make sure I keep that big because that one stays there. That's kind of this divider. There's like, here's the x stuff. Here's the y stuff. Here's the stuff without any variables. Okay? So then I have y squared plus 4y plus parenthesis 2 squared, that's what we'll just put, equals 16 plus 4 squared plus 2 squared. So as you can see, all we did was the division part, okay? So now we're going to scroll down a little bit more. I'm going to bring that back up. So there's our problem there. We can see it. X squared minus 8x plus 16. That's a perfect square trinomial. How do you know it's a perfect square trinomial? First term's a perfect square, last term's a perfect square. Big plus sign, y squared plus 4y plus 4 equals 16 plus 4. Okay, we're about there. Watch what happens. Every time you do these, after you get a perfect square trinomial, that perfect square trinomial will turn into your parentheses. Remember, this is what our goal is. Our goal is to get it to look like this. Well, I can get it to look like that because now I have a perfect square trinomial. My perfect square trinomial will help me write it. Parenthesis, parenthesis, square. Take the square of the first term. Take the square root of the second term. Take the middle sign. Got it? Square root of the first term, square root of the last term, middle sign. That's where it always goes. Big plus sign, it didn't change. Parenthesis, parenthesis, square. Watch. Square root is just y. Square root is 2. Middle sign. Equals 16 plus 16 is 32. 32 plus 4 is 36. And you guys, that now looks just like this. So now, let's go get our center. Let's go get our center, and let's go get our radius. You guys got to remember, this is our answer as far as it is now in standard form, and now they can ask us to go find our center. That's H, that's K, So center will be a 4, because remember it's a liar, and a -2 because it lied when it's lying when it's in, so it comes out telling the truth. And then our radius will be r squared, so we're going to go r squared equals 36. We're going to square root. Remember that's plus or minus. R equals plus or minus 6. So if you'll remember now, we throw away the negative and we keep the positive. That would be your answer to that problem, starting looking like that. Okay, I know it looks like a lot of steps, but you guys, it was really simple. I didn't even need a calculator all the way through. You were actually able to just pick those numbers. And you'll see that when we set these up, just set them up just the way I did. Set up your X's, set up your Y's, set up your stuff that doesn't have any variables by it, okay? Just remember to do that, okay? Let's try another one. So here's what our problem looks like. Okay, and we get x squared plus y squared minus 8x plus 6y plus 9 equals 0. So that's the way the problem looks right now. We're going to manipulate it to get it to look the way I showed you the first. So my very first step is I set up the x's, I set up the y's, I move the number to the other side. So I've got x squared minus 8x space, big plus sign, y squared plus 6y, leave a space, equals -9. Notice, how did I get the 9 to go from here to the other side? I just minused it, -9. Okay, so now it's ready to complete the square. You ready? We're going to go faster on this one, so watch. Half of 8 is 4. 4 squared, I'll just do it like that. Half of 6 is 3 squared. So over here, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go plus 4 squared plus 3 squared. Now we're going to simplify this. That's x squared minus 8x plus 16. That's just unique because it's the same as last time. It's not the way it always will be. Big plus sign, y squared plus 6y plus 9 equals -9 plus 16 plus 9. Okay, do I have a perfect square trinomial? That's what you want. After you do this square, you better have a perfect square trinomial. And I do. So my parenthesis, x, this sign, square root, that's 4 squared. Remember, we never take that square in and we write it like that because now it's in the right form. Big plus sign, y, this sign, 3, because the square root equals, now watch. What's nice is that 9 and this 9 will just go away and we're left with 16. So what is my center? That's H, that's K, so it's going to be a 4, it's going to be a -3, and then this is r squared, so r squared equals 16, we'll square root it, plus or minus, r equals plus or minus 4, so our radius equals 4. There's your answer, and there is your answer from our original problem. Okay? Hopefully that helps you. Let me show you one that would be a little bit different. I'm going to make this one myself, okay? Let's say this is what it started. Okay. I don't know what this one's going to end up like because I just made it up, but take a look at it. Is it in the right form? Do I know what the center is? Do I know what the radius is? No, because it's not in the parenthesis form. It doesn't look like this. Okay? So I got to manipulate it. Okay? Well, the only way I know to manipulate it is to complete the square. So watch. Now, this is a little different than the other pros because this one only has an x squared term and then it has no other x's. So don't panic, just watch. X squared. There's nothing else. Let's just go do our big plus sign because we already know that that's what we leave. Y squared plus 10y, leave our space, equals 6. Now wait a minute. How come I didn't move the 6 back over there? Because we want the thing without the number on the other side. So don't panic about that, okay? All right, well then is there anything to do here? No, because there is no b value. If there is no b value, remember, then you don't have anything to take half of. So it just turns to 0. It stays that way. So this one won't have parentheses in the front, but we had some problems like that in the other lesson. So it's okay, all right? So that one just stays the way it is. But this one has a b value. The b value is right there. So I'm going to go half of that, which will be 5, and then I'm going to square it. So to the other side, half of that, and square it. Okay, so now, how do I complete the square? Well, this one is already done because it is completed. So remember, that one's just going to look like this. The big plus sign, parenthesis, well, not yet. I got to actually do the square. So y squared plus 10y plus 25 equals 6 plus 25. Well, that's nice because now we know that this is a perfect square trinomial. So this stays what it is. Big plus sign, parenthesis, y, bring down the sign. The middle sign's the one that comes. Square root of 25 is 5 with the square. Equals 31. Well, now we can actually find our center and our radius because now it's in the right form. But remember, it can be like that in parentheses or just the x squared or just the y squared. Now, do we remember what the h value or the k value is? Do we remember what the h value or the k value is when there's no parentheses? I hope so. It's 0. H, if there's no h, it's 0. K and r squared. So center is going to be 0, because there's nothing, comma, -5, and our radius squared equals 31. Write that just a little bit better for you. Square root, cancel, plus or minus. R equals plus or minus radical 31. And I'm going to leave it like that, but the approximate answer is radical 31 is 5.6. So R equals 5.6 / radical 31. So there would be your answers. That would be your center, your radius, and that would be the equation that makes it work. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I hope you guys have a good lesson with that and you guys can get that done. Remember, that's what this one looked like to start, and that's what our answer would look like for that one. Okay? Just remember you're completing the square on this one, okay? Good luck. Let me know if you have any trouble, and see you later.